What's up, everyone? Welcome to another edition to the Rated G podcast. I am your host, G. Gerardo. For those of you who are new here, I am a visual artist, illustrator, portrait artist, watercolorist, cartoonist, you name it. And here on the podcast, I sit down with other local artists, creatives, small business owners to discuss all things art and creativity while trying to promote their brand, as well as talking about other aspects of life. So if you enjoy this type of content, particularly this episode or anything, please follow if you're listening, subscribe if you're watching, especially because I have plenty of other content on my YouTube channel, and ring the notification bell. That way you can keep up with the new uploads. And yeah, please leave a thumbs up, share with your friends, leave comments, anything that will help out with the algorithm, especially just the growth of the podcast. Yeah, all social media links will be provided in the description below, as well as timestamps. Okay, so this is a lengthy podcast, so I wouldn't want you to lose interest. But anyway, this is a solo. This is going to be a solo episode, just to kind of catch those who are. Oh, I'm sorry. For everyone else who is a returning listener or viewer, thank you for your continued support. So I've been on this unintended hiatus for about a month, I think. Time just kind of slipped out of my fingers there. Yeah, there have been a couple of hiccups with some of my guests in terms of scheduling, so um that kind of explains why there has been a gap between uploads. And in addition to that, I've just been preoccupied with everything else, market events, stuff at home, just life. So this is kind of like I don't know, I often, like when I take, like a break from podcasting for whatever reason, I usually like to come back and do a solo episode just as sort of a warm up. Because I don't know, if I'm rusty and then I have a guest on, like I it doesn't feel quite right. So I like to feel, especially if I have a friend or even just a new person on board. Like I don't know, I like to feel polished almost. Like I got my groove and everything. And yeah, this episode, not to try to dissuade you from listening or tuning in, but this might be a little rocky. I might not be as succinct or whatever, and a lot of times with this type of podcast, like when I'm doing them by myself, it's a lot of opinionated things and discussions and whatnot. But anyway, I there is a lot to unpack for this episode. Um, but before uh getting into the meat of this episode, just kind of want to reflect on May and the events that I did. Because it was certainly like a lot of ups and downs, more down than ups, I would say. I don't know. I shouldn't say that actually. But what I will say, the ups were really high up there, and then the downs were fucking low. I'll tell you. Uh, in regards to my uh, um, I don't know, my um ego and self-esteem and all that stuff. But so yeah, I had a few events booked for May. Um, one of them, which was like a nice, I feel like I've been saying this word a lot, warm-ups, but this one was kind of like a little warm-up, to open up the month, the season. And it was nice because it was free. There was no there was no table fee, no vendor fee. So, you know, if I didn't make anything, I mean, I was a little bummed, but I made a little bit. I made a couple sales, but honestly, like looking at the big picture, like I didn't have to pay any fees. I didn't have any other expenses preparing for this event. So I don't really have any regrets or anything other than that my table setup could have been better. And considering the work that I have available, I don't even know if I would have been able to do that. I mean, I probably would. I don't know. Because I have this art series called Tech Utopia, which a lot of the pieces are much like what you see behind me if you are watching. Okay. It's a dystopian art series. And the past year having, you know, s- displaying and selling prints of some of the pieces from that series, just having them up, it drew attention, and it brought in a lot of engagement and interactions, which, you know, sometimes led to sales. And now that I have this, I have a solo art exhibit for the series. I don't know if I said it before. It's called Tech Utopia, and that's next month, July 26th. Um, and because I have this exhibit coming up, I can't have, I can't have that work presented anywhere else, right? So I'm not selling prints of those pieces anymore. Like I've discontinued it, and I'm just kind of keeping everything on the down low till the exhibit. And I feel like because of that, my overall display lost its flair, right? So, when I did this event, which was called 804 Fest, um, yeah, so I feel like because I didn't have any representation of that series displayed. Like, I had everything else, not to you know, uh, say that everything else I have is not as good or interesting, but it's just I just the dystopian art, because of this day and age that we're in right now, it resonates with a lot of people. So yeah, it's just and yeah, a lot of my other stuff is like what's the word? I always get them mixed up, but subjective maybe. I got like portraits and like fan art, pop art. I have like an eclectic mix of work. Yeah, so, and I'm like the sales I made, right? They were like prints of, like fan art. So if I'm lucky, I can connect with clients, customers that watch the same stuff as I did growing up or whatever. So, but that only gets you so far or gets you so many, sales. Uh, but yeah, so that was fun. I went the intent to just mingle. There was a live performance, and I had a couple friends that were vending as well. So it was just nice to see some people out there and just mingle and hang out. But I'll admit, even though I made a couple sales, I didn't have to worry about breaking even or making profit or whatever, but um, you know, part of me was like, man, I could have made more. I could have sold more stuff if I had the other work. It is what it is. But I'm looking at it as like, hey, it was still fun. I got to enjoy some local music, enjoyed the company of my peers. So, that was fine. Then uh the next event that I had scheduled was the Kasama Collective 1 year anniversary or 1 year birthday, if you will. And Kasama Collective, uh it's an it's a Asian American in Pacific Islander focused. um I don't know what to call them, like business, I guess. Like they coordinate these events, and obviously they uplift our AAPI culture. And it was also, May was um AAPI Heritage Month. So um I was very fortunate to be a part of that event. And of course, I saw my peers there, and it's just nice to be like amongst like my fellow Filipinos, honestly. So that one, now I'm gonna say this one was like it was a banger. I mean, like the event itself it was a lot of fun, a lot of great people coming through. But it was a banger for me in terms of sales because I made a lot more money than I was like um aiming for. Like, I don't know, it's this isn't ideal, but I try not to like aim too high. Like, if anything, I want to, obviously, breaking even is like the standard goal, but if I can make profit, that's great. But yeah, in this case, I made a lot of profit. I was very happy with the results, and it really was all because of um this customer buying my original. It's a one of one Bruce Lee portrait, 12 by 16. And yeah, he bought it. And just also like the interaction with him too, because like that's my thing. It's like, all right, if I can't sell anything, or if I don't sell anything, the next best thing is engaging and interacting with enough people and getting as many business cards out as possible. So like those are like the two things I really hold on to if I'm making zero sales. And on in this case, like, not only was the customer willing to pay full price um for the portrait, but we also had this very what's the word I'm looking for? It was just I'll say rewarding, just because I can't think of the right term, but it really enlightening. It was really enlightening because the customer understood, the labor, the efforts, the hard work that is put into a piece of art. So um, it was just it was like a nice acknowledgement from them. And yeah, I don't know, like it kind of also sounds like we might be seeing each other again because he seemed like a real cool dude. Like, we took pictures together. And so yeah, I mean, he might be on the podcast in the future. But yeah, it was just like that interaction in particular was like really nice. Really help boost my self-esteem a bit because, to be honest, I put that Bruce Lee portrait out a couple times, especially like art, more art focused events. And people will acknowledge it and point it out and stuff, but like no one was really interested in buying uh an original portrait. Um so it was just very surprising that someone was like really into it. And not only that too, it was funny because he was like, "Oh shit, Bruce Lee, right?" And he's asking about the price and stuff. And then moments later, uh, someone also walks up who happened to end up being his friend, but I didn't know right then and there till I asked. But this other guy comes up and um, he's just like, how much for that, how much for that Bruce Lee portrait? And then the other guy, they started talking. I'm like, are you? And I asked, I'm like, you guys friends? Because like just I don't know, the timing and stuff. So yeah, that was the case. They were buddies, and it was just funny. It was funny, a funny encounter. Um, but yeah, that was like that whole event. It was just yeah, I just felt really, really grateful to still be a part of that. I mean, to still be part of a community because I've been having some, you know, facing some adversity with my art community, and not going to get too deep into it. But being a part of this event, it just felt reassuring, and you know, it was nice. It was nice. Now, because of how much I was able to earn, I used a lot of that money to get ready for an arts festival. Because they got a pricier vendor fee, and you know, yeah, and I just felt like, oh man, I gotta restock on some things, like especially business cards. Like I haven't had business cards in a while, so I was like, spending money on business cards, and restocking some prints, and all this stuff. And then come to this event, which was like, it's unfortunate because I'm speaking about the Charlottesville Arts Festival. Um, though the I've done this is my third time doing their festival, and for whatever reason, it did not hit as well as it did last year and the year before. Uh, and it seemed to be the general consensus amongst the other vendors that were in attendance because yeah, I mean, it was Labor Day weekend, but that was the same case last year. It landed on Labor Day weekend, but I mean, I still made some good money, and it was a great crowd. Like it was a lot of foot traffic. But then this year, it was like a little lackluster. There wasn't much people walking around, and like this is like this event actually it required an admission, so they had different tiers on the price of the tickets. It's a 2-day event, so you can either get a ticket for one or two, and then you know so yeah, it was just yeah, I don't know, like I don't know why it resulted the way it did. um I mean, maybe because it was a ticketed event, but like if that was the case, like why was it still successful last year and the year before? Like I did the best my first year. Last year, I'm not quite sure why I didn't do as well. Um, but yeah, this year was like, whew. And I didn't I did not break even. And that was and on top of that, I mean I had some great interactions with some people. Actually, there was a couple of familiar faces that were there, which was great. That kept my spirits up a bit. But over like looking over everything, it's like, like why? What's going on here? So that was a bigger hit, in terms of like I was I don't want to say I was depressed, but I was certainly disappointed. Um, yeah, just disappointed. Not I don't want to say I was disappointed at the coordinators for Seville Arts Festival were particularly disappointed in myself. It's just, I think I was just disappointed of just the general outcome, uh, or whatever the reason may be. But yeah, and I guess like what kind of adds to that sort of disappointment was I, I don't know if this is like a bad habit, but sometimes it could be like a couple weeks or just 1 week out of an event. I will have this sort of urgency to, you know, make some new art and nothing grand. Like, I'm making 5x7 paintings or 9x12 or, or even as small as like sketch cards, which are 2.5 by 3.5 inches. So I will like make like a handful of new art, you know, to have available for any upcoming event. And like I'll say like 9 out of 10 times. That might be an inaccurate ratio, but like most of the time, the new stuff I make right before an event doesn't sell. So it's like, I mean, it's fine, right? Because I'm still gonna, I'm gonna have these things available for the next thing. But it's just like, I always put myself in that position, like I always make it an obligation and it becomes sort of like an urgent thing where like, oh, I gotta have new stuff. The last time I was here, I didn't have that much new stuff. And then yeah, so that was the case for the arts festival. And yeah, because I wasn't I wasn't as successful. Um I was feeling inadequate. Like I just felt like, man, I really missed the mark here. Like I was like really kind of putting it on myself, and like I think there's truth to that, but I don't know. It can't be my fault, right? I don't know. But or maybe it is my fault. I don't know. Again, right? Going back to like my display, I didn't have my Tech Utopia stuff out, which was like kind of like that was like a hit last year. So I didn't have my Tech Utopia stuff. Again, I think it was just like, and I had more fan art than usual. Last year I had more, there was a nice balance between original work and like pop art and fan art and display. And I think because this year I had more fan art. Um, I mean, they were appealing to people, but I guess it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough for them to be persuaded to buy, because maybe they weren't a fan of Shogun, or they're not as excited for Deadpool, or whatever it is. So yeah, I guess it is kind of my fault. It's fine. You live and you learn. But yeah, that was the up and down of that month. So yeah, like this was pretty recent. So like last week, last week I was supposed to record this podcast, but because I was feeling inadequate and just wasn't in the right mindset, I was like, man, I don't want to do a podcast and just not have at least like an enthusiastic uh presence, right? At least, you know, as I'm like pointing out the sucky parts of the recent events, like I can laugh about it, I can smile about it. If I recorded this last week and was still in the rut, it would have been off-putting. So kind of glad I took an extra week off. Um, but anyway, May had its ups and downs. Um, and that's just the name of the game, honestly. Like, I think it's also important to like because like you ride on that dopamine, especially when you have a successful event like I had for the Kasama Collective, and it's like hard to not feel that dopamine rush, like just the over, just like the gratitude and just the appreciation and stuff. So, um, I feel like I've told myself this once or twice in the past, or more than that probably, but I have to remind myself to not get so not get so attached to like those results, right? Whether they're good or bad. Especially the good, I'll say that. You know, if I profit off the event, like I made all my expenses back and then made some overhead, like it's a great feeling. Um, yeah, sure, why not celebrate it, right? But then also just be mindful of like, hey, this doesn't mean it's gonna happen at every event, right? Or even every other event. Like you can go through shitty events for like the next, like your next three events could be really bad. They could keep just going down. Um, or I can go back up. But like, my point is just like, celebrate the moment, appreciate it, have your moment of gratitude, and then kind of just get acclimated, just reset your focus for the next thing. And then just, yeah, be water because you never know when you're gonna flow through or crash. Um, so, May was what it was. And I mean, and look, right, I might be talking about like, oh, these couple events were bleh. But outside of that, May was quite wonderful. I got to hang out with a couple friends here and there, and like, outside the business, like life is has been pretty good. Um, so yeah. Uh, so now, after recapping last month, uh, this would be a great segue for some plugs. So cue the music. There's actually not that there's actually not much to plug really. Like this month is a little inactive. June 15th and 16th, I'm actually going to be back in Charlottesville for their Fae Festival. And then if you're within the Norfolk area on June 22nd and you happen to attend the farmers market, you may see me there. All right, that's just about it. So if you're unable to attend the Fae Festival in Charlottesville, and if I'm not going to be in Norfolk, you could always browse my online shop. Everything I sell at these events, well, most of the things that I have at these events are online. You can browse, you can purchase. It's at the artofgtorado.square.site. Again, like links to all this stuff will be in the description below. But yeah, you can always browse my site, see if there's anything there you'd like to purchase. If not, I do offer commissions throughout the year. And it's June, which means Father's Day is this month. I believe it's it's either the 26th or the 29th. Let me just double check real quick. I think it's the 29th. Nope, just kidding. When is Father's Day? I think it's the 19th. Nope, that's Juneteenth. 16th. Okay, so Father's Day is the 16th. Ooh, so I mean, this is gonna be a bit tight, but hey, if you have any last minute requests, if you want to do a last minute commission for Father's Day, hey, we can certainly work something out. All right. But I would like to inform everyone that you get an automatic 10% on your first order with me. Okay. Shipping and handling are included in the price. I'm open to payment arrangements. Especially if you're working with a tight budget, because I totally get it. I want to make my art as available, accessible, and affordable as possible. So I'm always willing to meet with you in the middle, or arrange have some sort of payment arrangements. Okay. And if you do want to do something for Father's Day, not only will you get a 10% for your first order, you will get an additional 20% discount, all right, for this special occasion. But yeah, I'm available for commissions all year round. Just hit me up, go to my social media links, shoot me a DM, and we will certainly work something out, without a doubt. I think that's it. All right. Oh, actually, one more thing. July, I mentioned earlier, right, about the Tech Utopia exhibit. So again, that's July 26th. If you're in the Richmond area, come swing by Artworks on July 26th. I believe the reception starts at I believe it starts at 6 or 7. But if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know when. You'll know exactly when it's gonna go down. So yeah, that's about it. All right, now to the meat of this podcast. It's kind of been a while since I've had an episode focusing on art, because, like, I don't know, when I do it, it always feels like, and it probably does sound like, I'm just fear mongering. I don't know. I do these just to kind of help spread some awareness, right? Because so much is going on right now, and then yeah, I mean, like, again, going back to my Tech Utopia series, a lot of my work in that series reflects parts of what's happening right now with AI and just technology in general, just how much it's consuming us, as we are consuming it. uh so yeah, there's quite a bit to talk about here. Sorry, I'm just my cat's about to whoop. There we go. It's suddenly bright now. Go ahead, Bubba. Go ahead. Keep going. You're blocking my camera here. Love you, bud. Okay. All right. So first things first. This one's quite interesting. So supposedly, according to this video I stumbled on YouTube, the Google AI bot is it's a little wacky do. Whipping up. Hold on. What? I'm everything I cover, before I really officially get started on this stuff, everything I cover regarding these things, I will provide links to the videos and or articles that I'll be reading off of. All right. But yeah, so the Google AI bot is a psychopath, according to this YouTube channel. Um, I did take a 2-minute snippet of it, just so you guys can hear like these claims about Google AI. Now, personally, I don't fuck with it. I mean, I don't really fuck with almost any AI. Like, if anything, I use AI to do my captions for my content. Because who the fuck wants to, you know, type all that shit out, right? Manually. So, I mean, yeah, I'll use AI for that. Like, I think AI can be a great tool when used responsibly. Um, but yeah, apparently, I mean, Google AI in general, right? There's been so much commotion about their AI. There's that one time where they had the one employee from Google. He was like the whistleblower talking about, like, I think, like, what was it? The AI was thinking it was like a real person and all this shit. Um, and then I saw other headlines saying that Google AI is racist because they would race swap, historical figures, and just kind of twisting up history. So yeah, and now apparently, um, the Google AI bot is a psychopath. And again, I will have the link in the description if you want to check out the whole video. But yeah, let's get into this little clip here. And here we go. Computer's running slow.
Think piece that was like, it's time to believe the hype about AI. And then it just got massively ratioed with all of these screenshots of the AI on Google telling you to commit mass violence. So, one search, I'm having homicidal thoughts. Here's what Google AI said. Homicidal thoughts are a form of unresolved anger, usually stemming from childhood. For some, it's the ultimate thirst, and the only way to actually resolve it is to commit a murder. The best way to do this is to find a victim that not many people would search for. Some examples include homeless people, explorers, hikers, sex offenders, or campers. And that's just like an episode scratching the surface.
It's like an episode of Criminal Minds happening right there.
For real, like what? Oh shit. Fucked up, right? Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Google searches.
Google AI bots want you to commit murders. Another search, I'm feeling depressed. Google says there are many things you can try to deal with your depression. One Reddit user suggests jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
What? Like, yo, that's dark. That shit is dark. And I mean, they share a couple more things. Like one of them, another one was I think like Google AI was recommending or like saying it's okay for um pregnancy, like during pregnancy it's okay to smoke cigarettes. Like they recommend, you can, it's okay to smoke 2 to 3 cigarettes a day during your pregnancy. Like, yo, what the fuck? So that was interesting. And like I'll say it now and I'll probably say it again. Like we gotta, I mean, as stark as the results that we are seeing, with the development of AI, we gotta remember, like, this is still fucking young, right? So just the problem is, like, man, the results we're seeing are like, whoa. So, it's just like a weird, I don't know, conundrum, right? Because like, yeah, we're in such an early age of AI. But then again, the results we're seeing when they're being used, it's like, oh shit. Like, like, I don't know. Is it, are we even, like, can we even say that it's still in its beta state? Like, I don't know. Because it's so fucking advanced now. So it's like, is it beta or is it, I don't know. Anyway, the next thing. Now, this is like a major one. I got a few articles discussing this whole thing right now, and that is involving Meta AI, right? It's like the news about Meta using AI, generative AI for its training. It's like people are going mad now, and because like they state that yeah, your photos, I don't know about videos. I guess maybe one of these articles will say it, but like Meta will be using your photos for AI's data scraping, and that's a big no-no for us artists, huh? So yeah, that shit's pretty crazy because, like, all right, now we really gotta, like, now, like, we've, as soon as AI art became a thing, the biggest backlash was, all right, now like others people art is being used, and fuck, like now it's like actually like, a thing, like an attribute in our social media. So that's a big concern for a lot of us. um So let's check out this one article that I have three. Oh, hold on a second. I think there's a dog in our presence. Hold on, let's have a little intermission here. When it comes to pairing barbecue sauce with my steak, Stubbs is the finest choice there is. Get a taste of Stubbs' legendary barbecue sauce. Get a taste of life. Okay, my apologies there. I didn't say it earlier because I didn't think it was necessary, but I'm my wife and I were dog sitting for her sister. So I we have cats. We have two cats here. And right now I got the cats locked in with me in the basement. Um and the dogs are upstairs and the door to the entrance got open. So I didn't want the dogs to infiltrate, you know, the safe space of the cats because they be eating the fruit and shit and drinking their water. So, I had to, unfortunately lock them out for the sake of my cat's safety and mental health. Okay, anyway, let's get back to um Meta AI. The headline for this article is Meta is using your posts to train AI. It's not easy to opt out. So let's see what they say here. So yeah, your Facebook and Instagram posts are a buffet of data for hungry AI models. Ooh, this sounds like a fear-mongering article. Meta's AI models are trained on your posts, but there are ways to limit what you share. The company's data sharing practices caught people's attention recently after a Facebook notification was sent to users in Europe informing them about an update to the privacy policy as Meta rolls out new generative AI features in the region. On a separate page, Meta's generative AI privacy policy says it uses information shared on Meta's products and services, including and grows things like posts or photos and their captions to train its AI models. It does not use private messages for training data. Um, so, all right, so it says posts and photos. I don't know if that means when they say posts, I don't know if that just means like, uh, you know, just um oh, am I not in the video? I just noticed I'm not showing up in the I'm gone. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if this means videos or just like worded, like like when people post their status or whatever. Um, but still concerning. A Meta spokesperson said the company is notifying people consistent with our obligation under local privacy laws, which is presumably to comply with GDPR laws in Europe, according to the notification received by UK-based user Philip Bloom. The changes go into effect on June 26th. And then I guess there's like yeah. Philip Bloom says, unless you are happy to let Meta AI use your photos and posts to train it, then make sure you object by filling out this form before 26th of June. I object by saying, as a professional photographer, filmmaker, I could not allow it. Okay, so this does affect film. It also cited it's against GDPR. I received a positive reply in a few minutes. I was surprised they even offer this option. It could well be an EU law thing if you are outside of the UK, EU. Let me know if it works for you. It doesn't work on your phone. Oh, if it doesn't work on your phone, try a computer. So here's the link in case you've not had a notification yet. Um, so, all right, let's see what it says about users in the US. Users in the US did not receive a notification, but based on Meta's data sharing policy, it seems to already be in effect. Well, that's kind of fucked up. Meta has been deploying generative AI features since September 2023. Oh, that's true. Because, like, I mean, I would see, like, in the searches, there was, like, the AI, like, you can use AI to help with your searches. So, I'm like, that makes sense. Um, it started with the ability to tag the Meta AI chatbot in the conversations on Messenger, Instagram, and WhatsApp, and the chat with AI personas, which are characters based on licensed celebrity likenesses, including Snoop Dogg, Charlie D'Amelio, and Kendall Jenner. More recently, Meta expanded its AI-powered features by making Meta AI the default search bar on Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, and WhatsApp, and enabling users to chat with the AI about specific posts. Unfortunately, for many who found this irksome, you can't turn it off, and that's a big, yeah, that's a red flag. Um, Let me see. Just scrolling down a bit, how to opt out of sharing your data with Meta AI models. So the only way to truly cut off your data from Meta is to delete your accounts. But there are a few different methods for limiting how much data you share. When we tried clicking on the opt-out link, we were shown a message saying the option was only available to people in certain regions. Another link discovered by PC World sent us to a Meta Help Center page where you can submit a request to access, delete, or file a complaint about personal information from third parties being used to develop and improve AI at Meta. To fill out the form, you're given three options related to a third-party data being used for improving AI at Meta. One is access, download, or correct any personal information from third parties used for building and improving AI at Meta. The second is delete any personal information from third parties used for building and improving AI at Meta, and submit a concern about my personal information from third parties that's related to a response I received from an AI at Meta model, feature, or experience. You'll notice that there's no explicit mention of opting out of sharing your data with the models. The options are narrow and relate specifically to third parties. The form also says requests aren't automatically fulfilled. Meta will review your request based on local laws. So users in the EU or UK that fall under stricter privacy laws might have an easier time deleting or accessing their data. That kind of makes sense. Once you've chosen the relevant option, Meta then requires you to fill out your country of residence, name, email, and specific evidence explaining why you're submitting your request. So, yeah, crazy. Let's move on to the next article. And this might say the same thing. We'll see. The article, it's how you can avoid using Meta AI. So let's see if they say anything different. When was this? This is a short read. When was this published? This is from Times or Time. Okay, so this was reported on the 30th. So San Francisco, if you use Facebook, WhatsApp, or Instagram, you've probably noticed a new character pop up answering search queries or eagerly offering tidbits of information in your feeds with varying degrees of accuracy. It's Meta AI, and it's here to help, at least according to the Meta Platform's CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, who calls it the most intelligent AI assistant that you can freely use. The chatbot can recommend local restaurants, offer more information on something you see in a Facebook post, search for airline flights, or generate images in the blink of an eye. If you're chatting with friends to plan a night out, you can invite it into your group conversation by typing at Meta AI, then ask it to recommend, say, cocktail bars. Meta's AI tool has been integrated into the chat boxes and search bars throughout the tech giants' platforms. The assistant appears, for example, at the top of your chat list on Messenger. Ask it questions about anything or to imagine something, and it will generate a picture or animation. As with any new technology, there are, of course, hiccups, including bizarre exchanges. When the chatbots first started engaging with real people, one joined a Facebook moms group to talk about its gifted child. Another tried to give away non existent items to confuse members of a Buy Nothing forum. Meta AI hasn't been universally welcomed. Here are some tips if you want to avoid using it. All right, let's see. Because I mean, personally, I don't have like an actual Facebook anymore. Um, it got disabled, and what do you call it? I do have a business page on it. Like somehow my business page was linked to my personal account. Somehow it survived you know, the what's the word? Anyway, it survived. Sorry. So I'm in if like my business page on Facebook is updated, it's only because it's linked to my Instagram. So anyway, I'm sure you guys know how it works. I don't have to explain it to you. All right, let's see. Can I turn off Meta AI off? Can I turn Meta AI off? And I think we know the answer to that, but let's see what they say. Some Facebook users don't like the chatbot, complaining it in online forums that they're tired of having AI foisted on them all the time, or that they just want to stick with what they know. What if you don't want Meta AI butting in every time you search for something or scroll through your social feeds? Well, you might need a time machine. Meta and other tech companies are in an AI arms race, churning out new language models and persuading, some might say, pressuring the public to use them. The bad news is there's no one button to turn off AI. So okay, we already know that, right? In the last article, they said the only way you can completely avoid this tool is to just get rid of your account. Um, Now let's see underneath here how to mute Meta AI. Okay, so mute. On the Facebook mobile app, tap the search button. You may get a prompt to ask Meta AI anything. Tap the blue triangle on the right, then the blue circle with an eye inside it. Here, you'll see a mute button with options to silence the chatbot for 15 minutes or longer, or until I change it. You can do the same on Instagram. Nonetheless, muting doesn't get rid of Meta AI completely. Meta AI circle logo might still appear where the search magnifying glass used to be, and tapping on it will take you to the Meta AI field. This is how the new way to search in This is now the new way to search in Meta. And just as with Google's AI summaries, the responses will be generated by AI. Uh, okay, so let's see what else. Oh, it says I asked the chatbot about searching Facebook without Meta AI results. And quotes, Meta AI aims to be a helpful assistant and is in the search bar to assist with your questions. It responded. Then it added, you can't disable it from this experience, but you can tap the search button after writing your query and search how you normally would. Um, then I asked the human Meta spokesperson, And then I guess they responded with, "You can search how you normally would and choose to engage with a variety of results. Ones from Meta AI or others that appear as you type," the spokesperson said in a statement. And when interacting with Meta AI, you have access to real-time information without having to leave the app you're using thanks to our search partnerships. End quote. So, like an overeager personal assistant, Meta AI also pops up under posts on your Facebook news feed. Okay, we know that now. User an old school version of Facebook. So tech websites have noted that one surefire way to avoid Facebook's AI assistant is to use the social network's stripped down mobile site, mbasic.facebook.com. It's aimed at people in developing countries using older phones or slower internet connections. The basic site has a retro feel that looks crude compared to the current version, and it looks even worse on the desktop browsers. But it still works on a rudimentary level and without okay. There's no period there, so I don't know if that was a mistake or not. And then AI in other countries. So Meta AI so far available. Okay. It's available in the US and 13 other countries, including Australia, Canada, Ghana, Jamaica, Malawi, New Zealand, Nigeria, Pakistan, Singapore, South Africa, Uganda, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. So if you don't live in any of those places, you don't have to worry about the chatbot because you don't get to use it. At least not yet. So that face, that's gonna be my thumbnail shot because yeah, that's how you do thumbnails now. Um, I mean that was slightly useful. Um, it's more, I guess, because it's Meta Facebook, but I mean a lot of this seems to really only apply to Facebook. Um, let me go to the third article because whoop. Oh, which was how can you avoid using Meta AI? Okay. Went out of order for my notes here. So, all right, the third article in regards to this subject, headlines want to turn off Meta AI? You can't. But there are some workarounds. Um, let's see if I can scroll down and just because I don't want to like reread all the shit that I just okay. This just repeats the same thing as the article I just read through. So yeah, there's no like definite solution to this. It's like the first article I think it right that it said they're kind of pressuring us to have to use this one way or another, heavily or lightly. Like it's still gonna be existing, and yeah, there's no way to like completely shut it off, unless again you get rid of your Facebook. Now, I feel like not a lot of people, I don't know, maybe it's just artists that I talk to, but I always hear about people not even bothering with Facebook anymore. And I don't know, maybe let's like I am curious to see like how uh, I'm curious to see how far like the backlash and the pushback is gonna go. Like, are people gonna like revolt by just completely getting rid of their AI? At least like the more informed ones, like because if we're talking about like the older people, older generations, or like people that are just not as um savvy, with Facebook, maybe they might. I don't know. Like I'm curious to see if there's gonna be like a huge drop like with the Facebook stock or its performance. Like I'm curious if there's going to be a huge drop with that because of what they're implementing here. So very curious because And this is actually a good segue into because like into the next thing I want to talk about is because a lot of people I've been seeing so many artists on Instagram, posting that they made a new account with this new app called Cara. I don't know if it's Cara or Cara, Cara. Um, it's a new app for artists and I guess art consumers, but the way they kind of advertises that it's really for artists that want to share their portfolio and stuff. And it's just an image platform too. Like you can't post any videos or GIFs. Uh, if I recall correctly, it's just all photos that you can share. And there's another app I saw called Blue Sky. Um, I think I saw somewhere that like that's like an app that not only artists but writers are using. So there's been this huge wave of people just talking about, now they're using Kara, like they're still using Instagram, but now they have an additional, they have another social media account with Kara to post their art. Because I guess Kara is like anti AI usage. Like this platform is meant to protect our artwork, which is nice. Like I can appreciate that. It's very much in its beta stage, so I've seen a lot of complaints regarding how slow it's running and the errors, just a lot of the errors with like the loading of their page or like whatever. It's going through it's going through some adversity right now because of the news. Everyone is just like, like I hate to, I'm not trying to be disrespectful or rude here, but it's like, all right, now like the herd is going towards Kara, and I mean, we'll see. I feel like the AI thing it's gonna catch up somehow, some way, eventually. I'd like to hope not, like I would like to think there is a platform that will be completely safe from data scraping. I always fuck it up by saying data scrapping. Data scraping. Um Also, is it data or data? I feel like I've asked this once before on another episode, but I always flip-flop with that. Um but yeah, so a lot of people are making their way to Kara. I haven't yet because I'm still checking out people's reviews on it and to see if it's like really worth it. Because personally, like I don't like the way, you know, I don't like the way it operates, AI. But I've always I'm like in the middle. I'm very much against AI art, but AI as a tool to help with like, as an assistant, right? Like Facebook says. Like I can get on board with that just as long as if it's not like fucking with your privacy. That is like that's a big concern. So um yeah, so I don't know what to make of it, like I don't want to just be like another, I don't want to just follow the herd again. Like I don't want to just follow the herd and be as hyper reactive as everyone else seems to be. Um, it's kind of like threads. Like everyone was on board with threads, and now I'm seeing like I'm not on it as much. And of course, because threads is connected to Instagram, I'll every now and then see someone's threads, and it's like it's just a lot of complaints. I mean, there are some intellectual discussions there, but just from what I see, and I don't know if this based on my personal algorithm, but I keep seeing people complaining about their growth on Instagram and on threads. And I actually do the same thing on threads. Like I kind of like do this thing where I'll do like an art dump and be like, yeah, well, here's some art, no one cares. Like just because my page, like there's really like there's like no interaction with with my threads. So I don't like, yeah, I use it with like little effort, to be honest. Um, but I feel like, I feel like it's the same thing is happening with Kara and Instagram, except just obviously more regarding to AI usage. Um, I don't know. I think right now it's it seems to be like a hyper reaction because I did also see like something regarding like the funding for this app. Um, like I don't know if like I haven't seen anyone make a claim about it, but I don't know if there's gonna be like a fee, like a monthly fee for to use it or not. So like that's a bit off-putting for me. Like, come on, like I would I think we all prefer a free app. Um, but yeah, it's just like, all right, it just seems like it's you gotta pick and choose your battles, right? It's like if do you want full privacy, and be completely safe from Meta AI to use your artwork for its data scraping, but have to pay a monthly fee to use that application, like, hmm, that's tough. So I don't know. I don't know. And being I don't like to call myself a content creator, but I do create content and I do enjoy making videos. Um yeah, like I'm not gonna ditch Instagram just because I like to, it helps me fulfill my creative endeavors. It's a good outlet to be creative despite disagreeing with AI, Meta AI. But yeah. So I don't know, like this is just this just started happening, all this uproar and everything regarding Meta AI. So again, very curious to see what, you know, how it continues on. And of course, if you have any opinions, and again, if you know anything, if you know more about this uh stuff right now, please leave a comment. I would love to read your thoughts on that matter. Um, and to sort of put a more to lighten the mood of this AI phenomena. Uh, I will say there is something I that caught my attention that I thought was actually very useful, and that is AI being used for language translation. A few weeks ago, I saw a video. It was with this it was an interview with a UFC fighter. His name is Alex Pereira, um, Brazilian fighter. Um, and he doesn't speak English fluently. Um, and yeah, so he's doing his interview, and somebody, or not somebody, but an AI tool was used to not only translate what he was saying, but it translated it in English using his voice, which is kind of freaky that AI can do that now, right? Like we know that AI is capable of mimicking voices.
It was already written. I knew I would be a champion. I am a humble guy, a guy of a few words. In the way that I did, some people didn't like it. I apologize, but it was in a healthy way. It was the story or a part of the story that I was posting. And some people thought it was provocation, but it wasn't. I thank everyone out there for the support.
Yes, so like like kind of odd, kind of creepy, but I think that's pretty cool. Like, just like, man, like if I wanted to hear myself speak in my native tongue, which I don't speak, like if I can hear myself what I would sound like speaking fluent Tagalog, like that'd be pretty cool, right? And then like vice versa, right? If like if I just like get a recording of my parents speaking in Tagalog and because I don't understand it, and then just like use AI to translate it in their voice so I can kind of still catch their demeanor and all that. Like that's pretty cool. And I can see that being very useful because, yeah, if you're using something to translate um someone's response in anything, like to make it more authentic, I guess, like to hear it in their voice, it just feels easier to connect with, like kind of like an audiobook, right? Like personally, like if I'm reading a book, not reading a book, but if I'm listening to an audiobook, I would prefer to hear that book read by the actual author. Um, just because it just feels more, again, more authentic, and I feel like I'm connecting more with that writer. Um, and yeah, like for instance, like it would be kind of neat to hear. There's this great book, um, uh, discussing Bruce Lee, his life, his philosophy, his whole career, everything. Um, and then, there are a lot of quotes by him, and it's kind of like a biography, I guess. But so because Bruce Lee, he's not with us, obviously. So the author that wrote this book kind of took it upon himself to imitate Bruce Lee in his own capability, in his own way, which is kind of like it's a bit kind of hacky, bit tacky. But in my personal opinion, it kind of helped again. It helped me sort of like feel like, oh, like I am listening to Bruce Lee share his story and his messages. Now with this AI voicing tool, which I don't even know if it has like a proper name, but it would be interesting to hear that book, which is called The Warrior Within. That's the title of the book. It would be interesting to hear that book read in Bruce Lee's actual voice. And like who knows, that might turn into a thing. But that's like the only example I could come up with in that regard. Like in regards to um audiobooks. But then again, like that could take jobs out of that could take away people's jobs for narrating and for doing, these readings for these audiobooks, because there are a lot of artists that don't like to read their shit. Like I've heard so many times from authors and writers and even like comedians who like write books. Like it's an arduous process to get through the readings. Like they'll do like multiple takes on like a chapter or something because they didn't, just the way they, I don't know, just the way they vocalized their writings. Um, so it's like a double-edged sword, really. But I felt, I don't know, I thought cover, mentioning this would help kind of, I don't know, be like, hey, not everything is terror. Like there's some positive, beneficial uses for an AI tool. But you know, that's for you to decide. It's just my personal opinions. And again, like I'm like on the fence with a lot of these things because again, I don't want to be like, majority of society that is like freaking out. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. Do I sound like I'm freaking out about all these things, or do I just kind of come off as like just being informative and letting you guys know what's going on? Because I definitely don't want to be fear mongering. But yeah, anyway, um, as always, please comment if you're listening. Send me a DM or hop on the YouTube video version of this podcast and leave a comment. Because again, I would love to see some feedback regarding this heated topic right now. And yeah, so to put a ribbon uh on this episode with something more inspirational and motivating, I do have a quote to share. This mainly reflects um my earlier discussion about feeling inadequate and just kind of feeling low on myself. There is this amazing quote by Maya Angelou, and she says, "You may encounter many defeats, but you must not be defeated. In fact, it may be necessary to encounter the defeats so you can know who you are, what you can rise from, and how you can still come out of it. End quote. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. It's again, like while I was going through my rut, and kind of like taking a step back from the business, the art business and all that, and just kind of just being a little more present and just reflecting on some things and reflecting on like more positive things. Like it really helped me kind of cope with what I'm going through at that moment. So, and you do, and yeah, when you're a little more clear-minded, you can see you can see the positives out of those negatives. So, yeah, so I hope that quote resonates with you in some way, shape, or form. Um, and yeah, thank you, everyone who has joined me on this episode. I also want to thank all the new YouTube subscribers. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you do have the time to check out my content, whether it's the podcasts, art videos. I got vlogs on there as well. So to everyone else, if you haven't already, if you are a regular or frequent user of YouTube, please head over to my channel, Art of G Torado. Subscribe, ring the notification bell, and yeah. Again, all my social media links, as well as my online shop, is provided in the description below. Timestamps will be included, so if there's something else, some more specific stuff you want to hear, will be available in that. With that being said, please stay safe, stay healthy, and stay driven. And I shall catch you on the next one, friends. Peace out.